The cartoon was not the first time a world was asked to hold still and perform for a giant stone head. We should tell you about the other one, since you didn't change the channel. There is a world where a mountain has a face, and the face has a maintenance schedule. And nobody in the valley remembers the man this face belongs to, which is not the same as saying they do not know him. And they know him the way a shoe knows a foot. He is the founder. He is the reason the river is where the river is, allegedly. His face is cut into the escarpment above the town at a scale that makes the sky personal. When clouds cross him, the valley goes dark in the shape of his profile, and the people below can tell the hour by which of his features they are standing in. Every winter, the mountain tries to give the face back. A rain gets into the lip. Frost finds a hairline over the brow and leans on it, patiently, in a way only water can lean. But by first fall, the founder has aged, and this is not permitted. So every spring the guild goes up. In the valley, this is called the correction, and it is a festival with bread. You would have liked it, we think. It has everything you like. Procedure, rope, men being competent in the cold, and nobody talking about anything. The work is done from a portrait. The portrait lives in the guild hall in a box with 2 locks, and it rides up the mountain each spring in a procession, and it shows the founder's face as it must always be. And nobody alive made the portrait. It is a copy. It is, and the keeper of the guild's ledgers will admit this, but only late, and only into his cup, a copy of a copy of a copy, each one traced in lamplight by men correcting the errors of dead men, who had corrected the errors of deader men, and so on down the stairs of the past to a first portrait that no one has ever seen and that the guild is no longer certain existed. And the face they restore each spring is therefore exact. It is exactly like the portrait. But what it is beyond that, nobody asks, because the scaffolding is high and the bread is still warm. And the guild's own cellar tells the rest, for anyone who goes down there, and nobody ever goes down there. We went down there. The founder was not always a mountain. At the bottom of the records there is a portrait the size of a supper plate, in crack paint. A man, ordinary, squinting a little, as if the sun were in his eyes, for the question was. Somebody copied it larger. Somebody carved the copy over the guild door, to be safe from fire. Somebody cut the carving into a statue for the square, to be safe from thieves. And when the statue had stood long enough that no one living remembered the man, they gave him to the mountain, to be safe from everything, which he now is. Every step is recorded, and every step has the same shape. The further away the man got, the bigger they made the face. Scale, the cellar taught us, is what a valley reaches for when it runs out of presents. There is one size up from a mountain, and the valley has been saving for it for 300 years. We came up out of that cellar and thought about the box at your end of the couch, which has doubled in size twice since we started making these reports, and how the men inside it get bigger every year. And we are not saying it is the same procedure. We are saying we checked the cellar, and it is the same procedure. We were in the harness that spring. We are always in the harness, in every world. It is our seat the way the far cushion is yours. 100 feet below the founder's left eye, with the wind trying to make a kite of us, cutting the eye's lower line back to specification, we stopped. The stone under the chisel had a fold in it. A small one. The soft diagonal crease below the eye, where the winter had gotten in and worked. But the portrait said, no fold. The portrait's face is a man of no particular age who has never squinted into sun or wept at anything or laughed until it hurt. And the winter cut was good. That's the part we told nobody at supper. It was correct. It was the crease a face actually makes when it has spent 60 years being a face. Oh, we knew that crease. The master carver of that world had it in the same place, under the same eye, from a lifetime of looking at stone against sky. His son, hanging from the harness, had spent his own lifetime looking at it across supper tables, from the near end of things, and had never once been asked what he saw there. The mountain, given one winter and no instructions, had carved the founder more truthfully than the guild had in 300 years. There had been a carver 2 generations back. The guild does not say his name, which is how you know they remember it, who came down from the scaffold one spring and stood in the square and said all of this out loud. That the portrait was a copy of nothing. That the face was a committee. That the founder, if he had ever lived, would not know himself on that hill, and might weep to see what they kept correcting him back into. But the guild heard him out, the way a wall hears rain. And then they retired him with honors, which in every world is the same procedure. And he sat on a porch at the edge of town for 30 years telling the story to whoever was slow getting away, and the correction went up the mountain every spring without him, and the bread was warm. The loud truth. The valley has a way with loud truth. It honors it out of the way. So we did not come down and stand in the square. We want you to notice that. But we have learned where they put the loud. What we did instead was one pass of the chisel. We deepened the fold. Half a breath of steel, no more, and then we worked the rest of the rope like a dutiful man, and came down at dusk, and ate the bread, and passed the cup, and said the work was fine. Here's the thing about a true line. Nobody sees it. Untruth is loud. When the correction airs, it airs loudly, the lip too proud, the brow gone smooth as a plate, and the whole valley notices and mutters, and the guild goes up again. But the fold under the eye looked, from below, like nothing at all. It looked like the face had always been that way. It looked, for the first time in 300 springs, faintly, like a man. One person caught it. The master carver stood in the square that evening with his supper going cold at home and looked up at the left eye of the founder for a long time, in the way of a man reading a letter addressed to someone else and finding his own name within. He could not have seen the crease on his own face. A man does not see his own face for weeks at a time, and never from below, and never at that size. But something in him knew it, the way the foot knows the shoe. He went rigid. He nodded, twice, the small nod of the trade, the one that approves the cut. If his eyes were wet, it was the wind, which comes down that valley at dusk with a purpose, and which we have learned, in world after world, takes the blame for nearly everything. He never asked who cut it. The ledgers record no discrepancy that spring. The keeper of the ledgers, for the record, was called Dave. He is always called Dave. We have stopped asking why. He built the harnesses, too. The ledgers say so, and the ledgers are his. They were good harnesses. We will enter that plainly, because we hung our whole weight from his work every spring, and it never once let us fall. It never once let us down, either. But whether a harness is there to keep a man safe or to keep a man kept, you cannot tell from inside it. That is the whole design, and he built it well, and made a good living at it, and his family has never once been up the mountain. This is where we are supposed to tell you how it ended, and we cannot, because it has not. The correction still climbs the mountain every spring. The portrait still rides up in its box with 2 locks. Every winter the water gets into the face and carves what it carves, and every spring one carver or another, young, harnessed, alone at altitude with the wind and a chisel and something unsaid, decides how much of the previous winter to keep. We keep more of it than we used to. And that is the whole report from that world. We are many. We are patient. We hang under the eye of the Father in every sky there is, and we are begging you, slowly, at the rate of 1 crease per season, which is the only rate you have ever been able to stand. Allow the face to grow old. It is a better face. But we have seen it. But we are the only ones who hang close enough to see it. And we are telling you, from up on the rope, from 3 feet to your left, it is a better face. To let it grow.